I completed Iron Legs 100 kilometers. So after my fourth year in trying, I finally earned my Iron Legs. Um, Man, it was such a wet year. So yeah, it was a really, really good day. My plan was a really fast race plan. Um, and this year I wanted to be ahead of the time that I got disqualified at last year, by 3 hours. So I started out pretty hot and fast because I wanted to get um, ahead so that if I did need to take some walking breaks, that I'd be ahead of the cutoff time before I decided to start taking my walking breaks. Um, I got to the um, 47 kilometer, but for me it was 49 kilometers or 50 kilometers, which was aid station 4. I got to that aid station at 2 p.m., um, which was my race plan. Um, but the aid station before that at 38 kilometers was in Ford Knoll. And that section is usually so hot and so exposed. And that's what I was like planning on it being, was the hottest part of the day. Um, I was rained on for like 2.5 hours on the Ford Knoll section. So, and there was bogs, like you were sinking up to your knees in bogs where you think that you were going around a puddle and you would just sink worse than just going straight through. So eventually I was just like, I'm just gonna save time and just go through. And coming into the aid station 3, I was completely covered in mud. And this is in a grazing lease. So it's yucky, gross, sloppy, like traveled through cow patty muck. It was disgusting, like bogs. Um, I took a little bit more time in that aid station because I changed shoes because I was like, there was wet, sticky mud inside my shoes. It wasn't just water, it was like full on slop inside my shoes. So I changed into my Norda 5s at about 38 kilometers, put on dry socks, and I was a little bit behind my race plan time for that 38-kilometer aid station. Um, and I went out and I had like, I think I had 9 or 10 kilometers on the next leg. I actually made time and I made up that time and I got back on my race time or race plan. And um, I used the washroom. That's the real reason why I was hustling, was because I had to use the washroom. So I was hauling ass down that downhill because I didn't want to stop like in the trees to go to the bathroom. So Um, I stopped to use the a camping bathroom real quick at aid station 4. Took an Imodium because I needed it. And I think I was like over salting or something. I'm not really sure what was going on, but um, I resolved that. And that was at 2 o'clock. So I got my stuff and got my poles, and that was the next leg was summiting or getting to the false summit of Moose Mountain, which was a huge climb. And I allotted 3 hours for that climb. Um, that was the hottest section of the race. I was so hot. I had my gloves. Everything else on like before that time, everything was cold. I was wearing my gloves the whole time. Had my jacket on and off because of the rain. Um, I made it to Moose Packers at 5, or no, I think just after 5. But I had left that aid station at 6 o'clock, and I had 2 hours to go to the false summit of Moose and come back. And my cutoff was at 8 o'clock. That was the time that I would have been disqualified. And I was really hurting coming up Moose Mountain. my legs were shutting down and there was some technical like climbing, but also some really bad descent into the aid station 5. And my legs were not working at all. I was using my poles, like crutches, and I was really worried about having to get to that summit and back in 2 hours. Um, but I was like, okay, no, the plan was to just go until I was disqualified. So like I didn't pull the plug there. I just was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. So I made my butt out to Moose Mountain Summit, and I had an existential crisis getting to that summit. I realized and gave up because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get back down. And the guy, so in order to make it, like, there's no timing chip that you have to go out and back to. You have to go and get like a little green rubber bracelet from the summit. So that will prove that you were out to that point and back. Um, the guy that was sitting at the bracelets on top of Moose saw me ugly crying because I was already giving up. Like I already was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm moving so slow. And I had completely lost faith. Um, and then I rolled my ankle. So I texted my crew and I said, don't worry. I rolled my ankle, but I'm moving really slow. Like, don't worry about me. And I was just walking it in, and I was walking with purpose, but I was crying because I knew I wasn't going to be making it back for 8 o'clock. And some guy was coming behind me and he was passing me and he stopped and he asked me if I was okay. And I said, yeah, I'm just walking. And he was like, walking is good. You can still do it. You can make it. And I was like, okay, like kind of like still crying. Um, and I don't know what it was. It could have obviously been him, but something in me just started running again. And I started hauling ass, and I was like, no, I've made it this far. I am at 70 kilometers or 71 kilometers. I can make it to 72. So I started running, and I was just looking for that aid station because I had to make it. It was supposed to be at 72K. But my watch said 73. So I was like, oh my gosh, where is it? So I kept looking and hearing, like looking to see like where they were, and it just wasn't coming. And then all of a sudden I saw it in the distance and I started running faster. And I didn't even look at my watch. I just started booking it. I made it back at 7:58. And if I didn't make it there by 8, I would have been cut from the race. So I was still in the race. They gave me some hot broth and I crushed some potato chips and put that in the hot broth. And I was back in the race. So I was feeling good. And the next section from 72K until 88K was this crazy downhill off Moose Packers. And I grabbed my headlamp and I was like, okay, I am ready. I was listening to Baby One More Time, Britney Spears, old school rollercade music. And I was loving every second of it. I wasn't moving that great, but I was still running. Um, that downhill would have been so much better on fresh legs, but this is where I started running into the evening and I was back in the race. So I didn't have another cutoff until midnight, um, which was the um, 88-kilometer aid station. So I had lots of time and I was actually running and I was feeling good again, which was surprising. I was hallucinating for sure. My headlamp was causing everything to look like it was an animal moving in the bushes. And I was by myself for extended periods of time on that leg. And I was super scared of wildlife because I could hear things shuffling around in the bushes. Um, and because where I was in the race, I was hallucinating. Um, so I was just convincing myself that everything was really well fed in that area of the mountains, and that I was too stinky for anything to want to eat me. Um, so I convinced myself that, and I just kept going. Um, I was using my poles like crazy at this point, but I was having a really good time. It wasn't too steep. I was off like the steepest sections of the course, so now it was really runnable and rolling and undulating, and I was having a good time again. Um, I actually didn't get that cold until after aid station 7. I got pretty cold stopping at that aid station. Um, and then there's some more climbing to do, but my headlamp actually ran out about 3 kilometers from the finish. And luckily, I had my chest lamp on, or my chest light. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to see anything. Um, I took a little bit more time than I planned. I was supposed to finish, my race plan was I wanted to finish at midnight. I came in at 2 a.m. or 2:17 a.m. So I did the 100 kilometers in 20 hours and 17 minutes. This race had just under 4.5 kilometers of vertical gain. Um, it was a really fun day. Um, I am so happy that I got to be on the back end of that course, and I'm really glad that I pushed myself and I maintained ahead of those cutoffs. It's so cool how I had lost faith in myself, and someone giving me some energy and emotion and encouragement when I was in that low spot got me back on track. And I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to thank that guy because he stopped, and he was the reason why I made it to that aid station and I got there. And I've stopped for people before and helped them get across the finish line, but no one's ever done that for me in that way. Um, so I got first place in my age category. I got fifth woman, and I got, I think it was 24th or 23rd overall. Um, I'm so proud that I finished it, and I had such a good day. I met so many cool people. There's some amazing athletes out there. Some people finished in like 13 hours, which is incredibly fast for that course. Um, so yeah, I was really inspired. I had such a good day. I received an email a couple days after I raced, and um, the race director actually elected me to receive an award called the Gourds Award. I haven't received it yet, so I'll have to share with you guys when I get it. But um, the email basically said that uh, my tenacity and encouragement and um, willingness to show up and to have this goal and to keep pursuing it for so long was recognized, and that they saw that I was, you know, happy and I was expressing my joy on the course, and that kind of spirit was the embodiment of the guy who was named Gord, who passed away last year. And I think that's so, it's very special to me that um, that's something that I am um, still learning how to appreciate and take pride in and be confident in is actually being noticed within my community. And um, like my acts of encouragement are being noticed, and that's really cool. So um, yeah, I had such a good day. Iron Legs, I'll probably do it again. Like, it's a beast of a course. I'll probably do it again. Anyways, I'm super stoked. I had the best crew that day. Without my crew, I wouldn't have been able to achieve that goal. At some points of the race, I was like, oh my gosh, why am I even doing this? This is insane. I feel like so tired. And then I was like, you know what? I have people here for me. And like, if I can't find it in myself to do it for myself at this point, I'm going to do it for these people who are here for me. So, um, I'm so grateful that I have this community and I have the support and, um, like Kyle came and crewed me for 20 hours. That's so amazing. I'm so forever thankful. Um, and yeah, I have Iron Horse coming up at the end of the year, which is my next big thing. I'm gonna go down to Lost Soul and help a friend with that. But um, yeah, I'm pretty ecstatic that this goal is I got my finish line, which is really cool. I'm really excited.